Let me continue. Okay, so we'll start with Hooke's law. Hooke's law states that the stress is directly proportional to strain within the elastic limit. Okay, what is the meaning of this is we will take a uh, wire. Like for example, I'll take one wire of stainless steel. Okay, so this is your wire of stainless steel. Then what we'll do is we will fix one of this end. So this end is fixed, and then we are going to apply the load in the bottom. So we are going to apply the load here. Okay, so this is your load, what you are going to apply. So once you apply the load, so what will happen is, so this is going to stretch to some extent. Okay, so let us assume this is something like 1 meter or something around 1 meter. Then what happens? This 1 meter wire, when you put some load, so then what happens? It is going to come, or it is going to expand. Okay, so it's going to expand up to certain length. So let us call this length is extension is 1.1 meter. Okay, so this is when you are having the load. So let us call this is like 200 or 500 grams. Okay, so 500 grams is almost half kilo. Okay, so when I apply half kilo, then what happens? There is an extension in this wire, so it is going to expand. So the expansion is 0.1 meter. Then you remove the load. So once you remove the load, that means you're taking off the load. You are not having the load anymore. So then in principle it has to come back to 1 meter. Okay, then what happens? There is no strain means it's change in length to original length. Okay, so there is no strain. So but for any given material there will be some kind of uh, deformation is nothing but its deviation from its original size and shape. Okay, so let us assume this is like a 0.01 meter. Okay, so 1 meter wire, it got stretched to 1.1 meter when you apply the load, and when you remove the load, it will not come back to 1 meter, but it will stop at 1 point. So if I take the total length, it is almost 1.01 meter. So that means there is 0.01 meter of elongation in the wire. Okay, so this is nothing but this is your strain. So the strain is nothing but is the change in length to the original length. So as we are taking 1 meter, then it will be your delta x will be 0.01 meter by 1 meter, so which is nothing but 0.01. Okay, so this is a unitless quantity. So as it is not having any unit, so this extension or the strain is a unitless quantity. Okay, so now what we will do is, so we will take the same, we'll make a tabular column, or we will make more measurements. Okay, so what kind of measurement is, I'll put the load here. So load in grams or kg, and then I will try to find the corresponding strain. Strain is nothing but whatever I called as delta x. Okay, delta x is, sorry, yeah, delta x is your strain. Okay, so let us call this is your strain. Then as I explained in the this previous case, so if I put 0.5 kg, which is your 500 grams, I got like 0.01 is the strain. Okay, then I will put 1.0 kg, then let us assume this is 0.02. Okay, so what you normally do is you take, this is already fixed. First what you do, you put 500 grams, then remove the 500 grams, you will measure the extension. Okay, so what is the extension it is having? In this case it is 0.01 meters. Okay, then what you do, you again put 1 kg weight, you remove the weight, and again measure what is the deviation. So I am telling, like I am assuming that deviation is 0.02 is the deviation. Okay, or it is a strain. Then in the same way, if I put 1.5, then what happens? Let us assume it is 0.03. And if I put 2 kgs, then it will be
Excuse me, sir.
0.04. Yes, yes, yes.
Can you explain the third figure once again?
This one, last one,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yeah.
Okay, okay, fine. See, normally this is the experiment that is normally done for measuring the modulus of any given material. Okay, so normally what now they do is okay, just a minute. Okay. So I guess okay, so initially what you do, you just take the material. Like if you want to find the modulus of stainless steel, you take a stainless steel wire. Okay, so normally it is little bit difficult for you to imagine. So let us assume you want to find the modulus of a rubber block, okay, or rubber wire. So if it is a, like a if it is a uh, solid sphere, okay, so it is completely solid sphere, then what you do, you fix one end on the top side. So you put a clamp and fix it. Then what you do is you have free end. In the free end, you will go into apply the load. Load in the sense you can put some weight. Okay, so let us assume I'm putting 500 grams of weight. So initially the length is 1 meter. Okay, so once you put the weight, what happens? This is going to stretch, right? So the length is going to increase. I'm assuming it is increasing to 1.1 meters. Okay, then what you do, you remove the weight that you are putting. So I'm just removing this weight. So if it is not having any strain, so in that case, what happens? It has to come back to 1 meter. Okay, but normally what happens? There will be some strain in the material. So for that, you can expect a change in its length. Okay, the length will change. So instead of stopping at 1 meter, this will stop at 1.01 meters. Okay, so that is a 0.01 extra length is added. Okay, it is added due to this the strain. Okay, the strain is going to give this 0.01. Then if you want to take the strain, so I'm just taking delta x. Delta x is nothing but is like a change, is your strain in the x direction. So then how do you define this? Is change in the length. Change in the length means new length 1.01 minus original length 1 meter. Okay, so that is your 0.01 meters divided by original length. Original length is 1 meter. Okay, so 1 meter it will cancel. So 0.01 by 1 is still 0.01. Okay, so this is your this is how we get for given weight. So 0.5 kilograms or 500 grams. So for 500 grams, I'm getting 0.01 is the strain. So then what I do is I repeat this experiment. Okay, so first I have put 0.5 kg. So I got 0.01 is the strain. Then I put 1 kg, remove it. So then I am assuming instead of stopping at 1 meter, it is stopping at 1.02 meters. Okay. So then the strain will be 1.02, sorry, 0.02. Okay. Then what I will do, I will again put 1.5 kgs, remove it, then measure the length of the wire. So I am assuming it is stopping at 1.03. Okay, so then what is the deviation? 1.03 minus 1, which is 0.03. So like this, you can keep on doing. Then you can plot a graph. Okay, so this graph is what we call as a stress versus strain. Okay, so stress and strain diagram. So let me I will copy this better, then it will be easy. Okay, so okay, we will draw it. Okay, fine, no problem. So I will draw this. Okay, so now what I will do is this stress, how do you get the stress? So stress is in the y-axis. Okay, stress is nothing but you will use your formula of stress. What is the, how do you define stress? Stress is nothing but force per unit area. Okay, so force is nothing but you are applying load 0.5 into 9.8. Okay, divided by area. Let us assume it is 1 meter square or something like that. Okay, then you can have this stress, some value will be there. So this is almost constant because this is also again going to have increment like 0.5 into 9.8, and then it will be 1 into 9.8 like that. So then what I will do is I'm going to plot this stress and strain. Okay, stress will be on your x-axis. So this is in x-axis. This will be on y-axis. Okay. So I'm going to plot this taking a graph sheet.
Sir, I wanted to ask that delta is increasing if we increase load uniformly. I mean, like 0.5, then again 0.5, then again 0.5, then delta x will increase according to that, like 0.01, then after that it will be only 0.02, nothing else, or it will be
No, no,
increasing.
yeah, this is what, like, I will tell you. Okay, so this is how we do the experiment. Okay, I have given only up to 2 kgs. Okay, I'm not going beyond 2 kgs. Okay, so I am expecting it is linear. If okay, right, the reason is if you take this Hooke's law, what is your Hooke's law saying is stress is directly proportional to strain, right? So if I increase the stress by certain values, like I'm increasing by 0.05 stress, then the strain should also increase uniformly. Okay, then only you can have a straight line. Okay, but then we will see what happens. Okay, I'm just giving only how you make the measurement. Okay, but we will see what happens beyond some point. Okay, so your question is valid. Okay, so but only thing is this is true only for initial part. Okay, so we will see what happens after that. Okay, so I'm not yet gone to the entire end. Okay, this is only the initial part. So yeah, it's difficult. Okay, so normally what I will do, I will take this is your y-axis. Okay, then I will take one more, which is your x-axis. Okay, so then we'll have one more x-axis. So here what we will do is we will plot these values. Okay, whatever values we got from the previous one. So I'm going to write this is your stress. Okay, which is in Newton per meter square, and then you have strain on the on your x-axis. Okay, then according to your equations, okay, like up to 2 kgs, like let us assume up to 2 kgs, what is happening is it is obeying Hooke's law. Obeying Hooke's law means it is increasing with constant increment. Okay, so that means if I take 0.5, then it is 0.01. Okay, so if I make some scale here, then what happens is for 0.5, so let me change this. So if I take this is 0.5, then it is 0.1, and then if it is 1 kilogram, then it is 0.02. So it is going to be linear. So it is going to go straight line, something like this. So up to where it is going to go straight line is there is something limit called as elastic limit. Okay. So what is the meaning of elastic limit is if I now in this portion, so I will let me write this. I will give some names for that. Okay. So I will take this is your O. O is the origin, and then O is the origin or 0 is the origin. Then up to point something called as A, what you get is you will have linear line. Linear means for equally increase in the stress, there is equal increase in the strain. Okay, so this is because it is going to obey the Hooke's law. So and then this is called as a elastic limit. Okay, so what is the meaning of elastic limit is within this O to A, if you remove the load, then what happens, your material is going to regain or it will retain its shape. Okay, so beyond this point, what happens is it will not go linear like this. So that means if I next apply some uh, something like 2.5, initially we expect like 0.05, but it may not be 0.05, it may be 0.047. Okay,
Sir,
then for
what is
3.0,
straight line OA graph?
OA graph is up to here, like if for example up to 2 kgs, so it is going to obey the Hooke's law. What your Hooke's law says is if you have, so your stress is directly proportional to strain. Okay, that means if I increase the stress, there will be equal increase in the strain. Okay, So because E is constant, okay, stress equals E into strain.
Got it, sir. Got it.
So then, yeah, in that case, what happens? E is a constant number. So if I increase this by some increment like 0.5, then what happens? So I'm from here to here, I'm increasing it by 0.5. So then from here to here, the increment should be constant. Okay. So 0.01. Then from here to here, again, it is constant. Here, from here to here, it is constant. Okay. That is the meaning of it is obeying the Hooke's law. Okay. So then what happens up to point O is called as the elastic limit. Elastic limit means the your body is going to come back to its original shape and size. Okay. So maybe there is some small deviation in the size, but it will retain its shape. Okay. So then beyond the elastic limit, then what happens? It will not have that, it will not obey the Hooke's law. Okay. Hooke's law means, so you can see here from here to here, I'm increasing by 0.5. Same as from here to here, it is 0.5. So I'm increasing the same value of 0.5. But when it comes to the strain, it is not linear. Not linear means from here to here up to here, it was 0.01 increment. But now the increment is changing. It's like 0.007. Okay. So maybe the next one is 5.5, something like that. Okay. Or 5.4 or 5.3. Okay. So something like this. So this means this will start deviating from the Hooke's law. So after this point, it is not obeying the Hooke's law. So this is this region. So if I now plot the graph, then what happens? It's not to it will not go in a straight line. It will slightly deviate. Okay, so slightly deviate means it is going to change its path from straight line, and then it is going to go something like this. Okay, so there are 2 points here. So the first point I will call it as B, and then there is a second point which is called as C. Okay, so these are called as the these are called as your ultimate points. Okay, so just a minute, I will use the same word. Okay, so this is your yield point. So these two are yield point. So yield point is nothing but you will have yield point is it will not obey the Hooke's law. Okay, so now if I remove the stress, okay, so as I'm telling in the previous case, so if I remove the stress, then what happens? It has to go back to zero, O, right? So it has to go back to original shape. But instead, what happens is it will retain something called as it will retain some deformation in the shape, and this we call it as a permanent set. Okay, so I will call this as P. So this is called as permanent set. Okay, so permanent set is nothing but it is deviation from its original shape and size. So initially it is something like a cylinder. So after that, what happens? So it is something like this. No, so now after your point A, if you remove the stress, okay, then what happens? It will not go back to exactly like a cylinder, but instead what happens? It may retain some shape, deformation in the shape. That means it may become something like this. Okay, so it is not having its original shape. So it will stop something like this. So this is almost like there is a deformation. Deformation means there is a change in its form. Form means its shape and size. Okay. So up to point A, it will come back to its original shape. But after point A, what happens is it will not come back to its original shape and size. Then it will have some deformation. This deformation we call it as a permanent set. Okay, permanent set is your deviation from its original shape and size. Okay, so this is your yield point. So from O to A, so from O to A, your body will be elastic. Okay, elastic means it will retain its original shape and size. From A to B and A to C, it is going to be elastic plus. So within your yield point, what happens is it will have both elastic and plastic nature. Okay, so what is the meaning of plastic nature? So it is retaining some part of its shape, but not exactly complete part. Okay, so this will be both plastic and elastic. So that means there is some deformation, some kind of deformation in its shape. Okay, so that is your yield point. Okay, so then further, if I am going to increase the uh, increase the stress, so then what happens? Uh, there is a sudden increase or sharp increase in its strain. Okay, so strain is going to increase even for very small increment of stress. This is going to increase very large. Okay, so what we call as the ultimate point. Okay, ultimate point is, it is the maximum stress that your any given material can obtain. Okay, or it can have. So beyond this, even if you increase your stress, or even if you don't increase the stress, it will go to next point, which is called as a fraction. It is called as a fracture. Okay, fracture is nothing but, so your material is going to break at this point. Okay, so these are the different regions that you have in your stress and strain diagram. Okay, so as I told, from O to A, your material is going to be elastic. Okay, but from A to B or A to C, it will be having elastic plus plastic, and then I will call this as D. Okay, so D is the point which is your ultimate point or ultimate stress. So ultimate stress is the maximum stress your material can withhold. Okay, and then beyond this, what happens? There is something called as an necking, and then this your material is going to break. Okay, so from C to D, your material will be plastic in nature. Plastic in nature means it is going to not retain its original shape and size. It will have permanent deformation of the in its shape and size. Okay, so these are some of the some of the different points. And then what happens, as you keep increasing, your material is going to become thinner and thinner. So this will become more thin and thin. So if you keep increasing the strain, the stress, then what happens? The length is going to increase. At the same time, the diameter is going to be decreasing. And then what happens? At some point, it's going to break. Okay, so this is your fracture point, or what we call as the I will denote that as E. Okay, E is the fracture point where your material is going to break. Okay, and this is called as this region is called as a necking. Okay, so necking is nothing but it's going to become thin, and then it's going to break at a certain point. Okay, so these are this diagram you need to remember. Okay, for your
Sir,
exams. Okay,
in the curve, can you explain after point A?
after point A. Okay, so after point A, what happens is just a minute. Okay, so up to point A, what happens? You are having linear increase in the stress strain, so it becomes a straight line. So here your material is supposed to obey the Hooke's law. Okay, Hooke's law is nothing but it is stress is directly proportional to strain. Okay, so you have Hooke's law is obeyed. So in that case, what happens? Stress is directly proportional to strain. So even when you apply the stress, strain is going to increase uniformly up to point A, and that point A is called as the elastic limit. Elastic limit means this is the maximum limit where your material is going to retain its original shape and size. Okay, then beyond A, what happens is your as you increase the stress, strain will not increase uniformly. Okay, there will be some abrupt change uh, uh, in the strain. So in that case, what happens? As I explained here, the increment won't be same. There'll be different increments. Okay, that means it is already deviating from the Hooke's law. So in this case, what happens? It will increase abruptly up to some point called as B. Okay, B is supposed to be called as upper yield point. Yield point means so up to this point, your material can have both the elastic and plastic nature. Okay, so beyond B, even if you increase or stress or not, your strain is going to decrease. So sorry, your strain is going to increase. Okay, so even if I keep the same stress, your strain is going to still increase. That is why I'm showing this BC. Okay, so some cases they won't show this. you can, it is left to you. Okay, so this is, B is called the upper yield point and C is called the lower yield point. Okay, then what happens up to C? So up to C, your material is supposed to behave both plastic and elastic. Elastic means it will retain its shape and size. Plastic means it will not retain shape and size. So it is having both the nature. Okay. So as I explained in this in the previous case, so what happens is it may retain some kind of shape, but size will be like very much different. Okay. So from
Sir,
one,
how come at point B a material can have both the properties elastic and plastic? I mean, it is a little difficult to visualize.
yeah, it is because your material is started to become a plastic, but it is not like, so it won't become directly plastic. So there is a region which is and it depends on material. Okay, so if you take some material, this uh, B region will be very close to A. Okay, in some material, your B region will be very far away from A. Okay, so it again depends on how much elastic is your material. Okay, so for example, if you take the example, so you need to explain what is your elastic limit, what is your yield point, what is your ultimate point. Okay, then what is your fraction? Fraction means it is the ultimate breaking point of your material. Okay, then based on the distance between D and E, you can have you can differentiate your material, either it is ductile or it is brittle or fragile. Okay, brittle or fragile, ductile and fragile, you can use those words. Okay, ductile means it is little bit hard compared to the brittle. Okay, brittle is very uh, uh, delicate. Okay, so for example, if you take quartz, it in the in case of quartz, what happens is D and E will be very close. So it is said to, your quartz is said to be brittle or it is fragile. Okay, then if you take stainless steel, the distance between D and E will be slightly far away. Okay, so in that case, your you can give a conclusion that your stainless steel is ductile. Okay, so these things you need to remember for your stress and strain diagram. Okay, so all these things are already given in your notes. Okay, so you can try to follow it. Okay, so